something just led me to thinking about gifts, spices, joy to the world. And I even had a little humor thinking, well, gosh, what was the first gift? Was it the apple? Yeah, I digress. All right. The animals in the manger shared their beds and their manger, and that was a gift. So I thought, well, what are gifts? And according to psychologists, gifts strengthen social bonds. If you go back to the caveman times, they shared unusual rocks, and those were their keepsakes. Their animal teeth, their shells, and their bones were like your jewelry today. The Egyptians, they gave animals as gifts to their mates. And did you know that there's animals that give gifts to their mates? Birds do, especially crows. Then we go up to the pharaohs. Let's go to Egypt. When they had their coronation day, that was the day that they believed they were no longer a mortal human being. They became a god. So people brought gifts, thus the first birthdays. And then upon their deaths, of course, they were God, and they put gifts in their tombs. The ancient Greeks were the first people to bring us the gifts of birthday candles. So they believed when you had a birthday, the evil spirits came around you. So in order to make the evil spirits go away, they gave you best wishes. And thus when they blew the candles, the evil spirits went away. So the gifts of birthday candles came to be. Then we go into the Middle Ages. Let's come up to the Middle Ages. Food comes in. So food was brought to mates and their courting brides. And I always thought were some of the food gifts, so maybe they would choose someone else. So we have gifts of power and wealth that come into the Middle Ages. And that brings books. The most expensive things given at the time were books showing commitment and wealth. And not everybody read, but they were handwritten and hand-bound, so they were one of the most expensive things to give as a gift. Then we go to Rome. So what happened with the Romans? They bring in flowers. We're coming up from bones, aren't we? So flowers were the gift of love and of affection, so in courtship. So we today bring flowers. And here's a little fact. Did you know the Roman Church back at that time was against the giving of flowers for lovers bringing flowers? Just thought that was interesting. You got to hear the good and the controversial, Then we go into Hanukkah. We go back to the 19th century. And in Eastern Europe, we have Hanukkah Geld. And Geld in Yiddish means money. Well, if you go back to the Hanukkah, the war, when the Jews conquered the Greeks, they got the horses, and they got weapons, and they got coins. They passed these coins on to orphans and widows and the soldiers after the war. So these coins today, when they're given, this money geld, is chocolate, and they look like money. They're covered with a little foil, and candy money. So that's a Hanukkah gift. We go into the Bible of Matthew 2, and the wise men, of course, brought 3 gifts. The first of gold represented king, and he was now royalty. The frankincense represented divineness. That was the spirituality. And I thought, well, what's myrrh? I don't even know what myrrh was. So I looked it up. Did you know it was an embalming oil? Oh, yeah. I go, wise men's bringing embalming oil. They drink it with wine, but that's another story. Well, that represented the foreshadowing, of course, of his suffering and death. So all the messages that were brought of the gifts of the wise men were very symbolic. Let's go to today. And all year, this has been on my refrigerator, my mirror. This is my gift, the gift of words. You can ask me about these 4 categories. I heard them from somebody, and I don't remember who. Some podcast. Inform, inspire, support, or humor. If your words are one of those four, you stay in check. So, inform, inspire, support, and humor. A man hath joy by the answer of his mouth, and the word spoken in due season. Oh, how good it is. What did the angels, what were their words of joy this season? And suddenly there was an angel, a multitude of the heavenly host, praising God and saying, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill towards men."